Imagine looking at a slow-motion video replay of, like, a really crucial sporting moment.
Right, the kind of moment everything hinges on.
Exactly. You are staring at the screen, and you can clearly see a physical gap. I mean, a full inch of daylight between a cricket bat and the ball.
Wow, an inch is massive in cricket.
Yeah, it really is. But then this computer program analyzing the audio tells you there actually was contact.
Oh, man.
The computer draws a digital spike on the screen,
Eh.
and, well, based entirely on that spike, your tournament dreams are just completely shattered.
It creates a fascinating dilemma, honestly. We have engineered these incredibly sophisticated technological systems, right?
Right.
All to eliminate human error from sports officiating. But when the visual evidence that our own eyes are processing directly contradicts the audio data,
Yeah.
it forces us to ask a very uncomfortable question about who or what we actually trust in those high-stakes environments.
It totally does. Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we are opening up a stack of source material covering the Women's T20 World Cup 2026.
And we've got a really great match to look at today.
We do. Specifically, we are looking at England's 38-run victory over the West Indies at Lord's.
Which was a massive win, by the way.
Huge. It officially made England the first team to advance to the semifinals.
Yeah, a real statement game.
We've put this deep dive together for you because this single match serves as a perfect case study for three distinct things.
Right, it had a bit of everything.
It really did. We've got athletic endurance being pushed to the point of literal physiological failure. We have a technological controversy that exposes the limits of digital officiating.
And of course, a team finally conquering a psychological hurdle that ruined their previous World Cup campaign.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this.
So to really grasp the gravity of everything that happens in this match, we first have to talk about the physical environment.
Oh, the heat.
Yeah, the heat. We often think of elite athletes operating in perfectly optimized conditions, you know?
Like perfectly climate-controlled stadiums.
Right. But this match at Lord's was just an absolute furnace.
It was.
The temperature was sitting at a staggering 34 degrees Celsius right before the toss.
Just to clarify for our listeners, using Fahrenheit,
Yeah.
that is north of 93 degrees.
It's just a suffocating heavy heat.
And England batted first, which meant they had to establish the competitive baseline of the match while quite literally baking out in the middle of the pitch.
And the West Indies, they immediately leveraged that environment.
They really did.
Yeah.
Chinelle Henry opened the bowling and just set a brutal tone from the fifth ball of the match.
Yeah, she was not messing around.
She bowls this fuller delivery to Amy Jones, pitching it just outside the off stump. And there's this hint of away swing.
Right, the away swing.
Jones goes for the drive, catches the outside edge of the bat, and the ball just loops straight to A5 Fletcher at short third.
Which is that fielding position stationed just behind the batter on the offside, right?
Exactly.
You know, the biomechanics of that away swing are what make it so lethal, especially early in an innings.
How so? Like, mechanically speaking.
Well, the bowler angles the seam of the ball in a way that catches the air resistance.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah, so it causes the ball to drift away from the batter at the very last fraction of a second.
Right, totally messing with their timing.
Exactly. It deceives the brain's trajectory prediction. The batter commits to a shot based on where they think the ball will be.
But it's not there anymore.
Right. That late movement forces them to reach further than intended. Their balance is instantly compromised, leading to that costly outside edge.
And the West Indies just didn't let up after that.
Now they kept the pressure on.
Ashmini Munisar comes into the attack shortly after and takes out Sophia Dunkley.
Another big wicket.
Yeah, Munisar traps her LBW leg before wicket. Essentially, Dunkley's leg got in the way of a ball that the umpire determined was clearly on a path to hit the stumps.
But the fascinating part is why she was trapped. Dunkley was attempting a reverse sweep.
Which is a super bold move.
It really is. Attempting a reverse sweep requires a batter to completely flip their grip and change their stance mid-delivery.
Just to hit the ball to the opposite side of the field, right?
Yeah, so it is inherently high risk, but Munisar bowled this delivery incredibly full.
Meaning he was pitching almost at Dunkley's toes.
Exactly, and when a ball is that full, the geometry of the reverse sweep becomes, well, nearly impossible.
They just run out of room.
You simply don't have the physical space or the milliseconds required to adjust the bat angle.
Wow.
If you miss a full delivery while trying a reverse sweep, your body is fully exposed in front of the stumps. You are entirely at the umpire's mercy.
So England is stumbling early, 2 wickets down. I'm just putting myself in the shoes of an incoming batter here.
Yeah, it's a tough spot.
You're dealing with top-tier bowlers hunting for wickets, and the ambient temperature is 34 degrees.
It's intense.
It feels like playing high-speed chess inside a sauna.
That's a great way to put it.
It makes me wonder about the cognitive load, though. Does extreme heat like that force a team to completely alter their fundamental T20 strategy?
Or is it merely a test of physical stamina?
Yeah, exactly. Which is it?
Yeah. Well, the tactical blueprint absolutely has to change.
Really? How so?
In a standard T20 match, a huge part of the strategy involves rotating the strike.
Right, pushing the ball into gaps and sprinting hard.
Exactly, turning singles into twos. But in 34-degree heat, the human body just cannot sustain that kind of cardiovascular output for 20 overs.
Because of the risk of severe core temperature spikes and rapid muscle fatigue, I imagine?
Precisely. So the strategy shifts toward boundary hitting. You have to manufacture shots that clear the infield so you just don't have to run.
That makes total sense.
You rely on timing, finding the gaps, and letting the ball roll to the rope.
Which brings us to Danni Wyatt-Hodge, because her performance under these conditions was just phenomenal.
It really was a masterclass.
She essentially recognized that shifting strategy and took total control.
Yeah. She propelled England to their best power play of the entire tournament.
Right, hitting 57 runs for the loss of those 2 early wickets.
And just a quick reminder for anyone newer to the format, the power play is those first 6 overs where fielding restrictions are incredibly tight.
Only 2 fielders allowed outside the inner circle, right?
Right, making it the prime window to hit boundaries. And Wyatt-Hodge capitalized on that window perfectly.
She really did. The source material notes she identified the short pitch bowling early on and punished it.
Yeah, then she transitioned to these beautifully timed, lofted drives.
Just carrying the ball over that restricted infield on the offside.
She even executed a highly technical back-footed flip, using the pace of the ball off her pads to send it to the boundary.
Wow, so she wasn't just relying on brute force.
No, it was an exhibition in energy conservation through precise boundary hitting. She reached her half-century of just 32 balls.
She ultimately finished with 64 runs off 42 deliveries.
A massive contribution.
And along the way, she built a 65-run partnership with Alice Capsey.
Oh, and Capsey played brilliantly, too.
Yeah, Capsey actually pulled off the shot that Dunkley missed earlier. She hit a gorgeous reverse sweep for 4 off Karishma Ramarak before falling to Chinelle Henry.
Heather Knight also came in and provided massive support, adding 43 runs off 26 balls.
But the way Wyatt-Hodge's time at the crease came to an end, it's the perfect illustration of what that environment was doing to the athletes.
It really is. The conclusion of her innings had nothing to do with being outsmarted by a bowler.
Or a spectacular piece of fielding.
Right. Heather Knight cut the ball straight to the cover fielder. They called for a quick single, and Wyatt-Hodge was run out.
The source material is very specific here. It said she was run out purely because she, quote, lacked the legs in the sapping heat.
Her muscles just gave out.
Yeah, she had nothing left in the tank to complete the sprint to the other end.
It strips away the romanticism of the sport and leaves you with the raw physiological reality.
Subtle.
When a human body loses that much fluid and diverts so much blood flow to the skin for cooling, the muscles are literally starved of oxygen and glycogen.
But looking at the broader context of the tournament, this innings was a vital course correction for her, right?
Absolutely. Wyatt-Hodge scored a century on opening night, but followed it up with 2 very lackluster performances.
So, to step into a 34-degree crucible, rebuild the innings after early wickets, and push yourself to the point of muscular failure to top the tournament run-scoring standings.
That requires immense mental fortitude.
Definitely. So England finishes their innings with a massive total of 186 for 7.
They did lose some late wickets relatively cheaply, though.
Yeah, Danny Gibson fell on the penultimate ball. And Freya Kemp, who had looked so strong previously at Headingley, was bowled by Hayley Matthews while attempting a sweep.
But still, 186 in a T20 is a mountain of a target.
It really is. All the pressure immediately shifts onto the West Indies, and specifically onto their captain, Hayley Matthews.
She had to anchor this massive chase, because a target of 186 dictates terms.
Right, the batting side cannot afford a slow power play.
And they absolutely cannot afford to lose their primary run scorer early. Matthews provides the structural integrity for the West Indies batting lineup.
That sets the stage for the 4th over of the chase. Lindsay Smith is bowling for England.
Here we go.
The ball passes Matthews' bat. England appeals for a caught behind, and they decide to review it.
And this is where we hit that technological collision we talked about at the beginning of the show.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The TV umpire, Namali Pereira, rules Matthews out for 14.
Right.
The ruling is based entirely on ultra-edging, the audio sensor technology used in cricket.
Because the ultra-edge graph shows a clear, distinct spike at the exact moment the ball passes the bat.
But the complication arises from the accompanying visual data, doesn't it?
Exactly. The decision review system, or DRS, uses high-speed cameras in tandem with the stump microphones.
Okay, so audio and video working together.
In theory, yes. But in this specific incident, one of the primary camera angles clearly showed a visible gap between Matthews' bat and the ball.
Wait, at the exact millisecond that the audio spike registered on the graph.
Yep. A visible gap right as the spike happens.
So, if I'm a viewer sitting at home, or I'm Hayley Matthews standing on the pitch, and my eyes are clearly registering physical space between the bat and the ball.
Right.
How does a system justify sending a player back to the pavilion based on a sound wave? Is the camera frame rate just not fast enough?
Or is the microphone picking up the sound of a bat hitting the ground or a pad?
Yeah, what's actually happening there?
Well, both of those scenarios represent the vulnerabilities of the system.
Okay, walk me through it.
Video operates at a fixed number of frames per second, but the ball is moving at high speed and the bat is swinging at high speed.
Right, super fast.
So it is entirely possible for an impact to occur between two captured frames.
Oh, wow. So the camera just misses it.
Basically, it leaves a visual gap on the screen while the highly sensitive stump microphone accurately captures the sound of the friction.
But what about the other scenario you mentioned?
Alternatively, the microphone might pick up the bat scraping the turf or the batter's shoe scuffing the crease at the precise moment the ball passes the bat.
Creating a false positive.
Exactly. This creates a real epistemological crisis for the athlete.
For sure. Because when the visual input contradicts the audio input, the human brain inherently trusts the visual.
We believe what we see, and Matthews certainly trusted her visual reality.
The source material notes, she was absolutely adamant she hadn't touched the ball. She argued vehemently with the on-field umpires.
Yeah, she was not happy.
And even after she had to take the long walk off the pitch, the frustration didn't subside. She went straight into the dugout and demanded to watch extra replays on the monitors.
She was seen having a persistent, highly animated discussion with the fourth umpire on the sidelines.
She just couldn't believe it.
What's fascinating here is that her reaction is amplified by a historical precedent that players are acutely aware of.
Because the DRS system has produced these conflicting sensory outputs before, right?
Oh, definitely. Most notably in the Ashes-Snicko controversy the previous year.
Ah, the incident with Australia's Alex Carey.
Yes. During that match, TV umpire Chris Gaffani was presented with a very similar situation.
Which was a visible gap on the camera, but a distinct spike on the ultra-edge audiograph.
Exactly. However, Gaffani used human judgment to override the computer's audio spike. He ruled Carey not out.
Wait, he just overrode the computer. On what grounds?
His rationale was that the audio spike appeared several frames before the ball had physically reached the bat on the visual timeline.
Oh, I see. Suggesting the sound came from elsewhere.
Exactly.
So why didn't Namali Pereira override the computer in this match for Matthews?
Well, because in Matthews' case, the audio spike and the visual alignment of the ball passing the bat were perfectly simultaneous.
Even with the visual gap?
Even with the visual gap. The umpire adhered strictly to the protocol. A simultaneous spike means contact, regardless of the visual space between frames.
And you can completely understand the friction this causes.
Oh, absolutely.
When your World Cup survival depends on these decisions, inconsistency in how human umpires interpret conflicting technological data feels like a massive breach of fairness.
And the West Indies are suddenly reeling from it.
They really are. They're chasing 1 in 86. Their captain has just been removed under incredibly controversial circumstances. And there is an undeniable sense of injustice hanging over the dugout.
The tactical response to that kind of psychological blow is usually cautious rebuilding.
Like, teams tend to turtle up and protect their remaining wickets.
Right. They try to construct a new foundation.
Well, Deandra Doughton decided to do the exact opposite.
She really did.
We are in the final over of the power play. Doughton is facing England's off-spinner, Charlie Dean. And Doughton just unleashes this ferocious counterattack.
It was spectacular.
She takes 15 runs off the first 4 balls of the over, smashing back-to-back fours and launching a towering 6 over long on.
It was a brilliant, aggressive calculation on her part.
Yep.
Doughton knew that chasing a target of 186 simply does not afford you the luxury of a rebuilding phase.
Because the run rate would just climb too high.
Exactly. If you let the required run rate climb too high in the power play, the match is over anyway. She tried to punch England back onto their heels.
But Dean's response to getting hit for 15 runs is what ultimately breaks the back of the run chase.
A great piece of bowling.
On the final ball of the over, Dean makes a clear tactical adjustment. Instead of firing it in faster to avoid getting hit, she tosses the ball up, giving it significantly more flight.
And she pitches it on middle and leg stump.
My immediate thought is that she's trying to take the pace off the ball to disrupt Doughton's timing.
Well, taking the pace off is part of it, but giving the ball more flight changes the entire aerodynamic challenge for the batter.
How so?
Doughton was fully geared up for a flatter, faster trajectory that she could easily use the bowler's own pace to muscle over the boundary.
By using the ball's momentum.
But by tossing the ball up, it dips late. Dean forces Doughton to generate 100% of her own power from a much less stable base.
Oh, that is so clever.
Doughton takes the bait, attempts to clear the long-on boundary once more, but fails to connect with the middle of the bat.
The ball goes up, and Alice Capsey is waiting just inside the boundary rope to take the catch.
It halts the counterattack instantly.
And Dean wasn't finished. The very first ball of her next over, she bowls Janelia Glasgow, who chops the ball directly onto her own stumps.
That sequence really encapsulates the function of a world-class spin attack.
Yeah, elite spinners don't just take wickets.
Right. They systematically dismantle the momentum of the batting side by constantly changing the physical parameters of the delivery.
Pace, flight, and spin.
Exactly.
That double strike initiated what essentially became a spin chokehold. After the 6-over power play, the West Indies were sitting at 46 for 2.
And from that point on, England just locked it down.
They deployed a trio of spinners. Charlie Dean, who finished with 2 wickets for 31 runs, Sophie Ecclestone, who bowled with her trademark suffocating economy, and Lindsay Smith.
Together, they combined for 4 crucial wickets and completely strangled the West Indies' scoring rate. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this highly disciplined performance from England in the field carries a lot of historical weight.
It acts as a direct redemption arc for this specific squad. We have to talk about the ghosts of 2024.
We do. The last time these two teams met at a T20 World Cup was in 2024.
And England lost that match to the West Indies, right?
Yes, and that specific loss is what eliminated them from reaching the knockout stages.
Ouch.
But the pain of that match came from the unforced errors. England's performance was plagued by a shocking string of fielding mistakes and dropped catches.
They essentially handed the game away.
Pretty much, yeah.
And if you were an England fan watching this 2026 match, there was a very specific window where it looked like history was about to repeat itself.
Oh, definitely.
Chinelle Henry, who had opened the bowling for the West Indies, was now at the crease and batting brilliantly.
She actually stayed undefeated at 51.
Yeah, she formed a very stubborn 63-run partnership for the 5th wicket with Jazara Claxton. And during that partnership, England dropped 2 catching opportunities in the space of just 3 balls.
You can imagine the psychological weight of those dropped catches in real time.
Must be terrifying.
When a fielder drops a ball in a high-stakes tournament against the exact team that eliminated them 2 years prior via fielding errors, the pressure can cause a team to completely unravel.
The muscle memory of failure starts creeping in.
Exactly.
But this squad didn't unravel. They didn't let those 2 mistakes dictate the final 10 overs.
No, they stayed composed.
They trusted the suffocating lines of their spinners, maintained their overall fielding intensity, and successfully closed out the game.
A really mature performance.
So what does this all mean? The West Indies ultimately finished their 20 overs at 148 for 5, meaning England secured the victory by 38 runs.
But there's a crucial takeaway from the source material for anyone tracking the broader tournament landscape.
Right. The West Indies didn't completely capitulate.
No, they didn't. By batting out their full 20 overs and preserving wickets towards the end, they protected their net run rate.
Enough that they are still mathematically alive for a spot in the knockout stages.
It demonstrates the harsh pragmatism required in tournament cricket.
Totally. Even after facing extreme heat, losing your captain to a highly contentious technological ruling.
And falling behind the required run rate against elite spin.
You still have to fight for every single run to protect your mathematical margins.
Every single run matters.
We have unpacked a massive amount of information today. The source material for this single match gave us a remarkable look at the brutal physiological demands of playing in a 34-degree furnace.
It's an incredible test of endurance.
We explored the mechanics of ultra-edge technology and the epistemological crisis that happens when digital audio sensors contradict human vision.
And we watched an England squad face down the ghosts of their 2024 fielding collapse to punch their ticket to the semifinals. This raises an important question, though.
Okay, what's that?
It's a match that truly forces us to evaluate the evolving landscape of the sport. Looking closely at the Hayley Matthews dismissal. In a sport where outcomes are increasingly dictated by millimeters on a screen and digital audio frequencies on a graph, at what point does the relentless pursuit of absolute microscopic precision begin to erode the human spirit of the game?
Oh, wow.
If an allegedly flawless technological system creates more disbelief and lingering resentment than a flawed human umpire ever did, are we slowly losing the very essence of why we play the game in the first place?
That is a phenomenal question to chew on. The friction between absolute technological perfection and the human reality of sport.
It's definitely something to think about.
Thank you so much for joining us as we explored the depths of this source material. We hope you walk away with a richer understanding of the mechanics, the controversies, and the sheer endurance involved in this match.
And that you're ready to watch the rest of this World Cup with a completely new perspective.
Until next time.